Hello?
Hello? Oh, she's ready even early.
Ooh.
How is everyone doing?
How are we today?
Are we doing good? Are we doing fancy fresh?
The fanciest? The freshest? Hello? Happy spooky season, like I said. Can't believe it's October already. Ding.
Ding dang dong.
Ding dang ding dong.
Dingle
Doop.
dingle doop and dang.
Boop doop doop.
Shoopa doo doopa doo.
Beep beep. Hi, Alias. Hi, Chorl. Hi, Eleanor.
Oh, right. We're being cursed by YouTube today, so
We
like
are.
is we're just cursed by YouTube in general. It's mad at us for using a different thumbnail one time.
Yeah, it's like, how dare you?
How do you? So, in honor of... Sorry, I killed the channel. Yeah, how dare you.
Gosh.
In honor of the stream doing poorly, we're gonna make this the most boppin' stream where I actually answer questions.
He's answering questions?
Because then there'll be less of you here. And then we can give content to Charlie
Yes.
so that they can make good clips.
Give Charlie content.
Give Ursula content too, because she has to make all the thumbnails.
You're right.
You need to make a pack
I know.
of cute little things.
No, I need to make a little sticker pack of us.
And then
all cute.
then it'll be easy, and then we can move on to making like more clips throughout the week.
Yes.
Slowly.
Okay.
Slowly, because Charlie is small. Small being.
Should I work on that during today's stream?
Nah.
Okay.
We already picked what we're gonna do.
Okay.
So yeah, I will answer writing questions. I'll be a good boy. So before we showed up here, we were taking my brother came over to my mom's house because my mom lives next door to me because I make great life decisions. And he has a puppy,
Yes.
so our dogs were meeting his dog.
Yes.
And by our dogs, I mean Madoka and Serena, because Fado is tiny and hates everyone, so he stayed home. Madoka did not care about the puppy one iota, because there are balls at my mom's house, and Madoka, she played really hard, scraped up the back of her heels, just a mad lady. And so I took the tennis ball away so she couldn't play anymore. And then she proceeded to find every single ball in the yard, and I had to put them all away as she found them. You didn't even give me puppy photos? I had one puppy photo.
Oh.
Okay, the dog has its own Instagram, like...
True.
It's got a whole Instagram to itself. Like, I don't even need to find you photos of this dog.
Yes. We
Oh,
hung out with-
the dog has a TikTok too.
What? They have a TikTok? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want to do. I want to do like art TikToks, but I'm intimidated by new platforms. You know?
Oh my god. She's walking herself. Here, I'll send you the dogs. I don't know if my family wants this dog public or not. I don't know. It feels like they do, but I don't want you guys knowing who my brother is.
I don't want to follow your brother. That's weird. Hey,
Yeah.
Orb.
No, it's not my brother. It's my brother's dog.
The dog has an account.
The dog has its own TikTok. Just dedicated to the dog.
Yes.
Yeah, give me questions, guys. This is the one time I'll answer things about writing.
What rating questions do you have in honor of Preptober? What questions?
There's a patron here who I know who they are. And they haven't attached their account, so we haven't been able to talk.
What?
Mm.
Heck.
Oh, they don't know how.
Oh.
Okay, well, I will do that. I will send them the message that I send everyone.
Help them out.
Because everyone's always...
Because that's the best part of Patreon.
Yeah.
Hanging out on Discord.
They're always like... Okay, I'm gonna copy paste the message.
How do I ban all typography?
How do you write good?
How do you write good, Bones?
G-O-O-D. You already did it! You
There
did
you
it in
go.
your question, you silly William.
I
Unless
actually...
you're talking about like handwriting, in which case I could give you a link to something that I had back in kindergarten. It taught me how to do that. But basically you just kind of copy, like you see the keys on your keyboard. Well, I guess that would be all caps, but you know, it's a good start. So just take the G
Mhm.
and draw what you see, not what you know.
Right. Okay.
and then you take the O and you do that twice.
What?
And then you copy out the D. How do I copy the magpie? Control C.
Yep.
Yeah, you just go one page at a time. Yep. Well, I guess it's kind of hard because our website is broken and I think we lost the domain.
We did?
I think so. Because it's a weird, I think it's a parking site now. One of those ones, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really? You're gonna swear?
Yeah.
Don't. YouTube already hates us.
We're already in YouTube jail.
We need to stop. Okay? We have to be perfectly good for YouTube. Otherwise, we're gonna get buried.
Okay.
And then no one will ever know ever again.
Make my mind now.
Any tips on writing themes? Like adding a theme to your comic? I find that like with themes, like they kind of develop naturally. I find like trying to force a theme into your work is counterproductive, and it's, at least in my experience, it is. It kind of develops naturally, and then you lean into it more. Because usually your main plot will start following certain themes, and then you kind of repeat that throughout the subplots. So like if there's lots of themes of like family amongst your main character, then you would repeat those kind of themes into the side characters and bonus points into the antagonist, and then you would try and interact with that theme differently in like what is it, different ways. Yeah, interact with it differently than the main plot, right? Because you don't want to say the exact same thing with every plot line, right? You don't want every single plot line to be the exact same one. Theme is really cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want like...
What do you want? Tell me what you want.
I'm trying to think of like good examples of like something with really good themes.
Well, we watched 36 Questions, and it has really good themes.
That one does.
Because, like, because that whole play... Well, it's a good thing to talk about. Well, unless you hate musicals, then I'm sorry. But it's free to listen to the whole thing.
Yes.
It was really cool. I
really
had fun. But it definitely has, like, this huge theme of the truth and lying.
Yes.
And it has... like, both characters interact with that theme really differently, and it all progresses throughout it. And it also has a theme of letting go.
Yes.
And it does it super dang well.
It do.
I would recommend looking at it.
Yes.
How do you handle pacing in your stories without making scenes seem too drawn out or too quick? Well, that is the entirety of pacing. Because because pacing doesn't have to be good in order for it to be pacing, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's bad doesn't mean pacing isn't occurring. One of the main things that you can do to help your pace is getting outside eyes looking at your story, and then having other people read your script, because it's very difficult to develop your understanding of pace alone, because when you're writing a story and it takes you 5 weeks to finish one scene, you tend to think of that scene as really drawn out, but actually it's a really short scene. It just took you a long time. And then when you reread things in your story, you're like, wow, this is so boring and slow. But actually it's not. You're just giving a lot of details that you already know because you wrote the thing. So you don't have really great eyes for it. Some people do, but typically you're going to be really bad at determining your own theme. Not theme, sorry.
Pace.
Your own pace. So it's good to get like someone else's eyes looking on your script and thumbnails.
Yes.
Because pace occurs both in thumbnails and in script, to different degrees. Right. And not everyone's going to be able to point out like, man, this is too fast, this is too slow. Like some people definitely can give you that advice, but what I tend to look for is I'll be like, okay, reader of my script, tell me the points at the story where you're confused, and tell me the points in the story where you get bored. And I find that's a really good rule of thumb for finding out where your pace is messing up, because where your pace is too quick, you're gonna have very confused readers, and where the script is too slow, you're gonna tend to have very bored readers. And then you can fix things kind of accordingly. I mean, like it's only a rule of thumb. Like sometimes you're gonna have bored readers because you're adding too much, and because of this they're confused and they're no longer taking things in, and now they're bored. So if they're bored and confused, you're probably going what is it? I guess your scenes are like, what would it be? If they're bored and confused, you're probably going too fast with your information, but too slow with the plot and characters and fun bits. So it does become a bit of a mess, but that is like a good place to start is looking at like what a reader says and what their opinions are on things. You can kind of get a similar thing on your own if you take like a couple months away from a script and come back to it, and then when you read it you can start marking down like boring and confusing patches, but it helps to have other eyes as well. If you get a few readers, then you can even sort of get a consensus, and when a lot of readers are confused or bored, then you're like, okay, I'm messing up here. Unless of course your goal is to make them bored and confused, which sounds silly, but it makes sense, because like imagine you have a scene that's intended to like show that the character is so bored by what's going on. Like you can make it a little boring for the reader as well, for them to kind of feel with the character. And likewise, if it's meant to be confusing to the characters as well, then it's okay to be confusing for a bit, but obviously don't lean into that forever. For infinity, and just break their poor little brains. You know?
Yeah.
You have to have a good time reading. Well, most of you are gonna have the goal of having your readers have a good time, even if that good time is being scared poopless or miserable sadness. There's like enjoyment to be had.
True. That's true. That can be very cathartic to be sad while reading
Yeah.
or scared.
And after reading like with H-Bomb's video about like pathologic,
Yes.
where it's like I feel like there can be things that you read that are that give you the feelings, but it's not like it's just, you're not gonna get a lot of readers through doing so.
That's true.
Yeah. Trying to think of like other things. Like pace is such a big freaking topic because then
Yeah.
you get into like how you actually go about creating pace. And there's kind of for every single aspect of your comic, like from bubbles to scripts to panels to pages, like the same basic thing applies where what is it? Big things are slow. Small things are fast.
Yes.
Sparse things are fast. And detailed things are slow. So you can control your flow through that. So on a paragraph to paragraph dialogue way, if you have very few words, it's gonna be a quick read, right? And if you have like lots of dense information, it's gonna be a slow read, even if it's like a small amount of words, right? And with paneling, the more panels you have, the slower it is to read. But if there is a lot of panels with very little information, it also creates a quickness to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the more panels, the slower it is to read. And the larger the panel it is, the slower it's read, because you spend more time on large panels.
Exactly. Yeah.
You spend more time on detailed panels.
Mhm.
That's how you kind of create where your reader slows down. Like a detailed amount of dialogue is going to cause your reader to slow down
Yeah.
because they have to slow down and actually read it.
Exactly.
Whereas like very little being said, they'll move over quickly. And then you kind of play with both of those elements because you can have a big page, a big panel with very little detail, and it creates emphasis that slows down your story but also is quick and impactful. Like just think about splash pages, almost like a very simple splash page rather than a big ensemble type one, right?
Yeah.
Like a big reveal of like one very specific thing occurs. Someone's head gets popped off, and we have a big panel where we look at that impact.
Yep.
So it slows down, but it's still a very quick thing too, right?
Yeah, because you're looking at just one moment instead of like.
Well, it's not. It's different than looking at a big castle ground with all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because like you can have a splash page that has like all sorts of detail and all sorts of different stories going on, which is going to be very slow to read.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Was that helpful? You guys are all quiet.
Yeah. Are you guys just like taking notes?
Did you guys die? You're welcome. She giggle.
Hey,
We're all
Bones.
alone. What?
How do you come up with?
Oh, Ursula has a question.
Yeah, I'll keep this Q&A going. How do you come up with like kind of second act events?
second act.
Yeah, like kind of filling up. Because, like, when you're looking at a story, you typically have, like, you know, kind of your intro, you know, maybe the midpoint, and, you know, kind of where the climax character change moments are coming.
Yeah.
But I always have so much trouble getting from the inciting incident to the midpoint. So, like, how do you start your Act 2 type things?
Okay, this is the one that Charlie doesn't understand. It's
Calling them
it's
out.
no, it's lace.
Lace.
Lace. Like
Okay.
the lace quotient. It was originally Orson Scott Card's The Mice, and then I went to Mary Robinette Kowal's short story class, and then it was mace. You smash your story with mace. But I just hate the word milieu, so I turned it to lace.
Lace. Yeah.
When you're creating a story, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna want everything to build off of the next thing, right? You
Yes.
want to keep increasing the pressure as you move forward through your story, and you take, like, there's two types of scenes, right? There's like a scene where things occur, and there's a scene where things are reflected upon, and you can have a lot of you can order them however you kind of want, like they show up as needed, but anything that kind of occurs in a scene later needs to be reflected upon and reacted to. So, like, you could have a bunch of scenes back to back where tons happen, but you're inevitably gonna have to, like, slow down and have, like, a large chunk of time where you react to that and think, wow, that sure just happened. Like, I can't think of examples, but if you look through, like, films and stuff, like, and books and comics, you'll find what I'm talking about. I guess the best example is that whenever you write a story, there's a climax and then a resolution, right? So the
Right.
climax is like an action scene. It's where all the stuff happens. And the resolution is where we're like, wow, that stuff happened, and here's where we are now, you know?
Right.
It can be like, oh man, we defeated the evil that was here. and then we look at, like, the results of that, where the characters are like, oh wow, so they're gone, like, now we can make a farm. There's no more evil, it's farm time, let's go.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Get you. I get you.
So with that in mind, when you're adding to your story, you're adding events. Okay, we're
Yes.
talking about the action scenes. You need to have the reaction scenes, but they're going to be informed by the action, right?
Right.
And action is basically anytime you're adding pressure, conflict, you're moving forward in some way. Like, every action scene is going to basically end with everything being worse in some way, because, like, you can end in two directions. It's like the improv idea, right? It's the no but and yes and.
Yep.
Right? So anytime you start a scene, your character will have a goal. So the goal might be to I don't know, smooch a boy, right?
Okay.
Okay.
We're
So
smooching boys.
we're going to smooch the boy. So and then there's the greater plot that needs to be solved, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you do smooch the boy, but I don't know. I'm bad at this. I need to do something more direct. The goal is to leave the kitchen. So so you can end that scene in two ways, right? You can end it with either they do leave the kitchen, but I guess it's hard to do it without like a greater goal, because like the butt will affect the greater goal. So I guess the greater goal is to get upstairs. So this scene is about leaving the kitchen. Yes, so you leave the kitchen, but as you do, you make a huge mess, and now you have to clean that up before you can go upstairs, right?
Right.
Oh, or you don't leave the kitchen because you're going to leave the kitchen and then the cat knocks over all the glasses, and now you have to deal with that. So when you're building like up your middle story, you're going to be doing a lot of scenes that do that. And the way that you kind of determine what scenes you need is that you have plot lines, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have plot lines in your story.
We hope.
And plot lines can come in 4 forms.
Okay.
There's the location plot, there's the answer plot, there's the character plot, and then there is the event plot. And that spells lace.
Wow.
Yeah. So, when you're trying to make story with lace, you need to pay attention to your plot lines when you're thinking about your scenes. So, maybe you're focusing on this plot line that begins with like a snobby prince and is going to end with him learning the error of his ways and becoming better. So, when you're making middle bits, the yes but no and is going to the yes but no and is going to reflect that plot. So when you end your scene, you don't want... So he goes to a ball.
Okay.
And he meets a princess there.
Yes.
You don't... If you're trying to make the character plot move forward, you don't want to add pressure to some other unrelated plot, right? So, like, he goes to the ball and a dragon attacks. That doesn't really move your character plot in any way. However, if he goes to the plot, goes to the ball, and
The plot ball.
and he's planning to do something, and like he's planning to go have dinner and suck it up and be nice. But while he's trying to do that, there is like a really obnoxious royal there, and he breaks and he calls them all sorts of names and throws a fit, right? Like that
Right.
that would be like a no but situation where it's like he goes to the ball to try and be nice and try and do his best because he was told to do his best, but when he gets there he can't hold it in and he completely ruins everything, and now we have to deal with the consequences of that. And then in the next scene it's like, okay, you need to go apologize, and he's like, okay, fine, I'll go apologize. And he goes to do that, and not only does he not apologize, he makes everything worse in another way because he's such a butthead.
Right.
So you kind of like keep doing that to the very end until you make everything completely terrible.
Right.
And like as you're moving your story forward, you want to like interweave like all of your different plot lines, because you're not going to have a single plot line. Like maybe you will in a short story, but in a larger story you're not going to have that.
Right.
In a larger story you're going to have multiple different things occurring. So you can like combine them. So like maybe royal that he's talking to is going to be a character later, right? And the issue that occurs in this scene also affects that plot line. So you kind of combine them, which is good and cool and legit. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
It's help.
Yeah.
Smooch the boy, yeah.
That's very helpful. So yeah, so you'd have the scene of him screwing up with the annoying royal where he totally goes and makes a butthead of himself.
Yeah.
And then you'd have maybe a reflection scene where
he's going to like his advisor and they're like, "You bungled it." And he's like "Yeah, but it
you
was
were mean.
they smelled bad."
They smelled bad, so I had to dress them down.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, how could you show up to the ball like that? And it's just like, okay, now we have to deal with that. Like, what is the plan? Like, that's the reflection scene.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys like what the 4 different plots even are.
Oh yeah, what are the 4 different
Because I've
parts
talked
of the
about
lace?
this so
Oh, shit.
much. Because I mentioned what they are, but like location plot is basically getting from one place to the other. So
Mhm.
like the plot line is to get out of the kitchen and go upstairs. Like that's the plot.
That's the plot.
And then you throw in obstacles that get in the way of moving to that place.
Right.
Or maybe you do get forward, but it's more difficult than you expect.
Right.
And it fumbles you further, right?
Would an example of that be Lord of the Rings with Frodo?
Yes.
Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. Getting to Mordor.
Yes, that is primo
Primo location.
location plot, exactly.
Okay.
You start in one place, go to the other,
Right.
and stuff gets in the way of that. Like they show up and farmers like, "Actually, we're going this way." You're like, "No."
Right. I have. Wait.
Wait, I need to go through the other ones.
Wait. I want to keep deep diving into this.
Okay.
Does it count as a location plot if, say, you're like, your story is your characters like crash land on an island, and the whole point is to like get off the island or survive the island? Is that location? Or is it moving from location to location?
You kind of split it because
Mhm.
you were like, okay, they're going somewhere else, right? Like
Mhm.
if you start the story and they're
Right.
on a boat and they're planning to go somewhere,
Right.
but instead crash on the island,
Mhm.
yes, that is location.
Okay.
If you start the story with a crash
Right.
and their goal is to survive the island, that's a different type of story.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
Alright,
The,
go on.
The next plot is answer.
Okay.
And this is there's a mystery and it needs to be solved.
Mhm.
Okay? The mystery isn't always a whodunit murder. Like anything can be a mystery. Like what's with that guy? Why is he so weird? Like that's a mystery. Like anytime you have a question, it's just like where'd I put my glasses? Like that's a mystery.
Right.
Like you're like why is it raining blood?
I wonder that every day.
Why is my dog so small? You know, like any question you have where the end of the plot is getting the answer, that is a question answer plot.
Right.
So like the try fails, the middle bits of this tends to be you try and find the answer, you get a clue, but it's not come together yet. It's like, okay, so what was the question? It's like, where is my wife hiding my birthday presents? So like, for the question, it's like, where are they? So one of the things that could happen in the middle is like, oh, I see sparkly wrapping paper stuff like up in the cupboard. So you go into the cupboard and you don't find the presents. So it didn't happen. It didn't happen, didn't succeed. We succeeded in looking up at the thing, but we still haven't found the present. But we might have gained further clues, you know? It's like, okay, it's not there, but this definitely has been used.
Right.
So we need to be looking for that wrapping, you know?
Mhm.
Like clues are
Right.
are the things that start to fumble the answer plot. Like that's what you do to like flesh out that story, to add act 2 kind of stuff. So like another example is like, okay, like what is with this man? Why is he so weird?
Mhm.
And you think you figured it out. You're just like, ah, I get it. I think I figured it out. He's a wizard. And you go and you sneak up on him and like, yeah, like maybe he's doing magic, but we still don't know like the truth. Like why? Like you might figure out, okay, he is a wizard, but like what's his deal? Why is he hiding it? Blah 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 blah. Like those are still questions, you
Right.
know?
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about that one?
Yeah. Well, no. I think that one feels easier to parse because yeah, you can think of like a whodunit mystery as an example. You could have like
I'd have put my glasses the mystery of the day every day. Yes.
you could I don't know, you could be like an answer plot could be like what shady stuff is the villain doing? Or
Yeah.
like why are people disappearing? There's so many different ways you could do it. So that one makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Answer plot seems easier to understand.
Yeah. It's pretty simple,
Yes.
right?
There's a question, you answer it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time you don't answer it, you get a little closer. But
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
ADHD. With ADHD, there are many mysteries in one day. It's very true.
Yes.
The next one is character plot, and I think that's the one that most people understand.
Okay.
So a character plot is the character starts one way, and will either end another way,
Uh-huh.
or come to terms with kind of who they are.
Okay.
And everything in between is them failing to change or failing to recognize themselves as who they are,
Right.
right? So like what is example? There's so many like examples, like it's hard to pick one.
Yeah.
It's like this guy, the chosen one, you know, they start as like a wimpy little nobody, right?
Yeah.
And through the trials and tribulations of the story, they become powerful and strong. But throughout the story, you're gonna have lots of times of them failing to be strong,
Mhm.
and or maybe getting a little bit stronger, but not enough, and they'll always kind of buckle back on their flaw, you know, until the
Right.
very end where they're finally able to overcome it.
Right.
Yeah. So it can be like, oh man, they beat the monster, but their flaw continues. Like they're still too chicken to do things, or like I'm having trouble to find like an example. But like
yeah.
like you can think about like all sorts of characters, and they all have
Right.
character plots, and like we all get it. Like
Yeah.
romances are also character plots too,
Right.
where like the character will change in order for the romance to kind of happen.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he starts as a curmudgeon and slowly his heart warms, but there's always like something kind of nagging, I guess. He continues to fail because like otherwise he wouldn't fall in love at the end and also do the thing where he messes everything up.
Yeah. Or like he likes the boy,
Yeah.
but he's so grumpy all the time
Yeah.
that
And like he
yeah.
starts to change.
Yeah. Starts to be more kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
Like it's hard. But yeah, you just
Yeah.
continue to put pressure on the not the relationship, but the character. Like continue to push them.
yes.
And it's, I guess not every time they're on screen they're gonna be like failing at that. But if you want to put pressure on something, like that's like if you want to move that plot forward, that's where you'll add tension.
Right. Oh, it would be like our prince example, where the rude prince goes to the
yeah,
ball,
yeah.
and so he has to learn to stop being rude.
But he keeps being
He
rude.
keeps
like,
being rude.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And like inside, he'll start learning that maybe he shouldn't, but he still falls back on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last one is the event plot, and that's something happens that disturbs the status quo, and then we need to rebuild a new status quo or get back to the original. And that is your story where you crash on an island and have to survive.
I get you. Okay.
So
the status quo is we're not stuck on an island.
yeah, like a big event occurs, like we crash,
Right.
like we were living a good life and then
Yeah.
suddenly we crash.
Right.
Like that is an event. That's the big main event that starts.
Okay.
And then throughout it, to continue to put pressure on your event plot, is terrible things keep happening. Like you're chased by wolves, one of you gets poisoned. Like
Yep.
it's like the easiest one to work with. It's the one where you're like, add a dragon. Like
Yeah.
you just keep adding terrible events, like keep making explosions happen.
Yes.
The
status quo currently not crashing on an island. Exactly.
And it doesn't have to be that big. Like,
Yeah.
like imagine, I always go back to baking. I don't know why. Like, I always think kitchen plots. But you're making banana bread, and you're out of milk. Like
right.
that's a event that has occurred. You know,
Right.
like it doesn't have to be big. It's like, okay, we're out of milk. I have to go to the store. You go to the store. Oh crap! You get there. You realize your oven's still preheating at home, so you have to call your husband to like to go back in the house and check that. And he's like, "Oh, the house is on fire." Actually, like a lot bigger, but you know, it builds.
Yeah,
Like that's the whole point of
snowballs.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
it snowballs out of control.
Does it become okay? So I know you can mix and match
Mhm.
with these things, where you can have more than one type of story
Yeah.
going on. You could have a location.
Okay,
and
I just want to say, when you have a location plot, you always have something else. Like you
Yeah.
rarely have something.
it'd be kind of yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But so for example with the missing milk where you go to bake and then the milk's missing, would that start both an event plot and an answer plot if you were like, where could the milk have gone?
Well, yeah, if that's your question.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could start a plot. It's just like, where did the milk go? But like, if you don't ask that question, if it's
Yeah.
just like, well, we're out of milk.
Yeah, we forgot to pick up milk last time.
Cool backflip.
Great backflip.
Yeah. Because like, crashing on an island, like, because you when you did that, when you're like, okay, they're in a plane, they're trying to get somewhere else,
Yeah.
and then they crash.
Mhm.
So the thing with like the lace quotient plots is you want to close them in the order you open them,
Mhm.
right? So like I've heard it described as like code, but it's also like a sandwich too, where it's I feel like code is the best one because you need to like
Because you nest things in code. So if I
Yeah.
have like oh
we'll
God.
just do like a show with like the like start with like an L, right? And then
an L.
yeah, like a L for lace.
Oh, I get you.
You start with an L,
Okay.
and then you open an answer plot.
Yeah. So then there's your A.
Yeah, and then you open your answer plot.
So then
So-
before I close my L plot,
Yeah,
I
before
first
you finish.
have to close my A,
Yeah.
and then I can close the L.
Yeah.
Like code.
So you can have all sorts of little plots that like occur, but they have to like open as they in reverse order as you close them. So like the example is like what Ursula brought up, right? Where you're going on a plane to a place. So you have started a location plot, which
Yep.
means at the end of your story, you need to get them to the place they were wanting to go. But an event occurs where the plane crashes. So first we have to solve this event plot. And you can interweave like the conflict, like that doesn't matter what order that occurs in, but you need to resolve things in reverse. So like they need, in order for them to get to the place, you first need to solve the whole crash and get to a new
Right.
status quo. Like things have to calm down on the island before they can leave. You can't,
Right.
because it would be really it'd be really like, just imagine a plot where they land on an island, a bunch of crazy crap happens, and then instead of following that through, you just leave. Like
Yeah. Okay.
like
I
there's
getcha.
there's
So-
fires, there's explosions, there's intrigue, and then a rescue plane comes by and picks them up. Like you need to resolve that plot first. Like you need to have things calm down on the island, and then you see the rescue plane coming, right?
Right.
And it's even better if they they are responsible for getting that plane to get there, because like you want them to resolve their own plot, right?
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
you start with your location. So maybe they're trying to like go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to Hawaii. Then they crash. So that's the event.
Mm-hmm.
So crash. Then maybe there's like an answer plot where like who caused the crash? They find out the plane was sabotaged.
Yeah.
So sabotage.
now you gotta solve that.
So to answer the answer plot, you have to find the saboteur.
Yep.
So
You find that first,
find,
and then a status quo can be resolved.
yes. So then once that's all resolved,
Then they can go home.
then they can get off the island. They can flag down the rescue plane.
You just pull a Gilligan's Islands and never let them gain relief.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
And then you close the L by they get to Hawaii.
well, with Gilligan's Island, do they set it up that they're going somewhere?
I
Like,
don't know.
like I don't know. I feel like it's pretty, because we all understand under the. There's not a lot of pressure to get off the island. Like, that one almost feels like there's an event plot, and now the status quo has occurred, and they're just on the island, right? Like that's the story. They're on an island and shenanigans.
Right.
Why can't they be rescued then realize who's sabotaged? Because I'm not trying to be pedantic, I promise. Oh, because it's boring. Because like because because
if you had
I'm the writer,
sorry.
okay? God, I'm trying to talk and you're like it's because I don't know. Ursula, you explain.
Oh no.
No,
do.
You
do
had
it.
an answer. No, it's like it's because like how can you restore a status quo while there's a saboteur still around? Right? Like you're never gonna like calm, like it's not gonna be chill. Like we need to get things chill again first, you know? It's the same way as like you can't just leave the island with conflict. Like we can't have everything be good while there's still a saboteur going on, because there's inherent anxiety, right? Like if they never catch the saboteur, you're like, well, things aren't good. They're gonna come out and do it again. Like that's the implication, right? Where it's like we solved everything, but we think we did, but the saboteur strikes again. You know, that's why you have to.
That's true. Because if their plan was to like kill you, like they're gonna continue to kill you and not let you get to Hawaii. until you defeat the saboteur, and then you can leave the island.
So it can't be yeah, it can't. And yeah, like whenever you're doing like a webtoon comic, it's kind of like that. Like you might have an arc within the episode, but you want to resolve that before you like that episode like might have its own arc, but it'll open and close in order, you know?
Mhm.
Like you're not gonna like leave an episode off at a cliffhanger but end the story.
Yeah.
Could you explain L and A plot again? The L is the location one. It's where you want to get from one place to another place and stuff gets in the way. And the A is the answer, where you have a question, like, where are my glasses? And at the end, you have an answer.
Yeah.
Usually there's clues in between. Oh, I forgot about the other thing.
What?
For answers. You can have clues and you can have red herrings.
Yeah, you can have.
So red herrings would be like, oh, I think I found out where Ursula is hiding the presents, but actually it was a clever ruse.
'Cause I'm so clever.
Yeah. Punched myself in the teeth. I will say about status quo, it depends on the medium. Like television shows like The Simpsons want to return to a status quo at the end of the episode. Yeah, that's true. So if you start something up in The Simpsons, you have to return to status quo by the end. So status quo, it's hard to like, because you can't, like, I guess in theory, like someone was saying, like, what if the conflict becomes status quo? But like the thing is, like, you need some sort of status quo, like where we're going to be certain like that this is where it's at.
Because your status quo could be miserable, right?
Yeah.
It could be your characters start off living in a dystopia where they're like,
Oh, here's one.
What?
Here's a status quo. It's like a horror movie, right? Like the status quo, it's like everyone's chilling, have a great party time, and it ends with everyone dead.
yeah.
Everyone dead. Like maybe one guy kills the villain, but they might not. Like once everything's dead, like Cabin in the Woods ends with, you know, the world ending, but that's a new status quo. We did solve the event. Like
yeah, you're right.
like the event has to resolve in some way.
Yes.
You know, like you either send away the horror monster or the horror monster wins, and now the status quo is that like the horror monster owns the entire world and it's chill, but there's no more conflict because there's like the conflict of like, oh man, the monster has to kill everything, you know. You kind of have to keep your end in mind with that too, because like everything like everything should be working towards an end. To understand the 7-point, I literally wrote down the structures for movies, but it seems hard to do that for Lace. No, you could totally, if that helped you, it totally helped me. It was sitting down with a movie and like in your case doing 7-point or 3-act structure and pointing out where that occurs. Like you could definitely do that with Lace. You could probably sit down with a movie and be like, okay, this is the beginning of a location plot, and then you go follow it to the end and just like write down where it ends and identify the different types of plot. Like where does the character plot open up? Like yeah, like you could definitely do that. Shrek is prime 7-point if anyone wants to do that. I think you could probably do that with like, I think Shrek has, I don't actually know Shrek that well.
Well, Shrek has location because they go to get the princess. It has there's like an answer plot. We're wondering why Fiona like hides at night. There's character plots with like Shrek like changing and I forget what it is. Learning to
No,
accept
like,
himself or whatever.
yeah,
it is.
Shrek is learning to like accept himself because
Yeah.
he starts out like uncomfortable because he
Mhm.
starts by being like a monster, but he wants people to know that he's good inside, but like he isn't even admitting that to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the character plot that opens up.
Mhm.
Like I think if you sat down with any movie, like you could feasibly point out like the lace moments and start understanding it, and you could probably I agree with like what Charlie is saying here. Like it's good to sit down with other media and try and identify the points rather than always sitting down and trying to like write it for yourself, because you
Mhm.
could also look at each scene and say, okay, this is a reflection scene, okay, or we look at an action scene and we look at the end and see what has changed. Is it a yes but no and which plot is it related to? Yeah,
Mhm. Shrek is about government corruption.
I think I did good. Okay,
You
on your
did.
question.
That was a really great answer to the question.
Yeah, there, I did it. I'm a good boy. Give me pats.
Pat.
Pat,
Pat spot. Can we
Um,
get a like spike for Bones' lovely explanations?
I have to go to the washroom. I'll come back and
Okay.
answer more.
Let us. Shrek is genuinely a good movie. Like, I have so many fond memories of it. It's highly memeable about how weird it is, but it's a good movie overall. Shrek even technically has an ice monster prologue via the Dragon Storybook. Amazing. Like, spike for Shrek, please. Get out of here. Do you guys have any art questions while Bones is away? Also, please let us know your writing questions, because Bones is in a generous mood, and he will answer your writing questions. Man, I'm slowly learning how to do top-down perspective. I can do this. I can make it happen. Shrek unintentionally became a protector of the oppressed class. Yes. How do I make thumbnails not the worst process? Where comics go to die? Well, what are you having trouble with the thumbnails? Like, is it, what's the problem? Bones is in a generous mood. What did you do to him while I was gone? He saw a puppy today, so he's in a good mood. We saw his brother's new puppy. How long does it take you to draw an episode or chapter of a comic? It depends. Our comic chapters, we usually do it by scene. Our comic chapters tend to be like anywhere from like 3 to 10 pages. No, like 3 to 15 pages. So totally depends on the length of it. I used to do like 10 pages in a month. That was like how long it would take me, but I burned out on that really quick. So now it goes way slower. Either way, however long it takes you is okay. Some people are really, really slow. It goes really slow for them, and that's totally fine. They still make lovely
You
work.
just got slower as you got older
That too. I was really fast when I was younger.
because you weren't as good,
Yeah, exactly. You go really fast when you don't know what you're doing.
which is good. It's like
Yeah.
fail faster.
Exactly. Fail fast. But yeah, don't feel bad if yours takes a little bit to do. I would recommend just setting deadlines and trying to hit them as best you can.
Yeah, now it takes months for her to draw someone sitting in a chair.
Shut up. It's a really complicated chair. What would you consider the best power system?
Me.
Bones. How do you draw a man driving a car from above? We'll never know. I don't know why thumbnailing is always when I come to a screeching halt. When it's my favorite part of the illustrative process, I think paneling is something I struggle with. I found I used to struggle with that too. It really, really helps to, when you're looking at your page, like pick the main panel, pick the focus panel. Because like, if you have 6 panels and one of them is where like the really important meat of the page happens, like make that one the big one, figure out where you want it, and build the other panels around it. If that makes sense. And sometimes before you start like filling out the panels, like just make a couple different layouts where you try like different ways to like panel things out. Where you're like, do I want it to just be like really big and then I do like a bunch of like little ones, you know? Like, do I want them all to be like this? Just try out a whole bunch of different panel layouts and then start filling things out. Sometimes that can be helpful too. Thumbnailing is such thinky work. It really is.
It do be kind of thinky though.
It do make your brain hurt.
Then go brrr.
Trick myself into thinking it's one illustration with a bunch of poopy doodles around it. Exactly. That's a lesson, kids. Even Comic Master Charlie has struggles. It's true. The best of us struggle, you know?
It's almost my birthday.
I know. Your birthday's on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
You know whose birthday's tomorrow?
Me.
Madoka.
Oh.
It's Madoka's birthday.
Oh, right. It is Medica's birthday tomorrow.
She's gonna be 6 tomorrow.
In the house.
She's on her bed.
Oh, sorry. There's a thing in
There's a
middle.
puppy on her bed. I'll show you guys.
She worked really hard today.
She did. Look at her.
She went to the
Madoka?
office.
Mako, hi baby. It's almost your birthday.
Marco, when your birthday?
You're gonna be 6. Baby.
I have therapy on my birthday.
Good. You can be sane on your birthday.
Hell yeah, I can be sane.
Your dog's birthday was yesterday. Oh, baby. How do you do backgrounds without hating yourself?
Oh, wow. Step 1. Go to therapy.
Yes. Step 1, work on your self-esteem.
Yes.
Step 2.
Step 2. Let's work on
Okay.
backgrounds.
Backgrounds are really fun. I think what stops people initially is there's a lot of like technical know-how that gets in the way. Because you have to like.
Backgrounds are a character. Yeah, they are.
They are. They're important.
I just want to say, as a
What?
side note to this, yeah, we need to see more background designs from you critique kids.
Yeah.
'Cause you're always sending in character designs, but where's the love for your background designs?
Give me your setting designs. Hello.
I haven't done one in a while.
I'm challenging all of you, all of our critique kids. Okay, yeah, because backgrounds, there's definitely, like, it feels like a big, like, wall to entry. What is it? There's a barrier to entry, that's
Yeah. A wall.
it. Because you have to, like, you have to know perspective, you have to, like, look at, say, like, architecture.
It sounds like math.
Totally, it sounds like math, and that is, like, every artist's worst fear.
Most artists.
Most artists. Lots of artists. You shut your mouth, Clad. You draw lovely backgrounds. Clad, I feel like you like overcompensate because you think your backgrounds are bad, and then you make these beautiful backgrounds.
Glad shut up.
Yeah, so it feels like really unattainable because you're like, oh my god, I have to know all this stuff to make it look cute. When perspective, you can cheat at it quite a bit and still
Yeah.
get something that looks pretty nice. Especially through like stylization. In the same way, you can not know a lick about like proper anatomy and proportioning and still have really cute characters through stylization. But I would definitely recommend just like grabbing reference and just trying things out. Like try drawing a bunch of houses, find cute interior design stuff on Pinterest and try sketching it out and drawing it. A good place to start is eyeballing things and then adding like a perspective grid on top instead of starting with a perspective grid, because I find starting with perspective and starting with grids can be really intimidating because you're like, I don't really know where to put everything, and it turns out weird and I make the angle too extreme and stuff like that. But if you start by like sketching out a room and then adding your grid on top, you can kind of just align things a lot easier. So that's a good place to start. One thing that actually made me really like backgrounds more was playing The Sims, where I got really into just like looking at houses and it's like, what makes a cute house? So yeah, that can be very helpful. It also helps find artists who draw really great backgrounds and just
You
try
keep peeking
copying
a bit
them.
with the microphone.
Sorry. Try just find artists you like and just copy their work and see what works for you, you know? And just practice, use reference. It's really spooky, but it's just as simple as learning to draw people, and you're probably already on your way learning that stuff.
The backgrounds are always so plain. Yeah, they need character. You gotta like, environments are a character of their own.
Exactly.
They tell a story.
Because, like, the one I always think of is, like, your character's bedroom. Like, how would they decorate it? You know, are they a music fan and they have posters of all their favorite bands? Are they someone who needs, like, brand new IKEA furniture and, like, follows trends? Or do they thrift everything so nothing matches? Like, there's so many different ways you could, like, decorate a space. And if you're looking at maybe, like, an outdoor environment where, but even then, like, if you look at a city, like, cities have personalities. Is it, like, an older city where everything, like, has been, like, renovated and, like, keeps, like, the original brick and stuff like that, and original, like, wood features on it or whatever? Or is it, like, a city that's being, like, highly, I guess, gentrified and stuff, where it's all like...
It's where your world building comes out.
Totally. 'Cause,
Like,
like,
an environment tells a story, too.
Like, is the tone really spooky? Like, is it a creepy town? Or is it a really bright, happy, airy, beautiful town? Like, yeah. Totally just bringing characters into things can really help.
Heckity gickety.
Heckity heck. You don't want to let those tigers down. They play Planet Zoo and you'll get really into building and decorating. Exactly.
You guys, I just don't get into it. Maybe I will. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just not an artist, guys.
Gosh.
Like, I try and play Planet Zoo and stuff, and I just make a mess. You'll say you world build forever, and then you say you don't know what your settings look like. Come on. You know the last 200 years of history.
Exactly. You can totally just extrapolate from your world building Bible you've made.
My throat's recovered. Tell me more.
All right, more writing questions.
Give me questions.
Let's go.
Give me gosh dang questions. I'll answer them so good. I'll dunk on y'all. For Critique Stream, what kind of comic chapters? Sorry.
Bless.
Water. Too much talking.
For Critique Stream, what kind of comic chapters do you like to cover? I wanted feedback on later parts of my comic, but already published the first chapters. Should I just include a link to those?
I'm only gonna read what you give me.
Yeah, we have like a limit of like 40 pages, just because it's a lot if someone gave us a whole comic to read in a week.
Like, if you give me the later pages, I'm not gonna be able to kind of comment on what happened earlier in the comic and give you a great input on that. So just kind of gotta figure it out from there. I just don't have that. I don't have that kind of time in my life.
Our more one-on-one mentorship
I forget what
tier?
the deal is with that.
We could probably do something more like that, where we can give you like a really in-depth look at your story, but just for the monthly general kind of long form critique, yeah, we'd only be able to look at what you give us. But you could do like, here's a summary of what's happened. Here are the new pages.
What's Tiny Rat saying?
I kind of want to just write an arc and then draw it while I'm working on the next one. I'm still in the scripting phase. I want to be able to foreshadow while also not killing motivation. Am I dumb? Help. Right, so you don't want to... You want to start working on it as you're writing it.
Don't. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Especially if you're right. If I'm reading this correct, I just want to write an arc and then draw it while working on the next one. I want to be able to foreshadow without killing motivation. I mean, you can go for it. Like, my dirty secret is I don't write the whole thing out first. However, I shouldn't.
Don't be him. Don't be Bones McKay.
Like, I get what you mean, though. Like, you don't want to lose motivation. The thing is, it takes so long to draw everything that you're gonna edit your later work anyways. Yeah, like... I think if you write the full arc out, like, it isn't as egregious, and you probably can get away with it. It can be difficult if you haven't written a lot of stories before.
Yeah.
Like when I wrote my terrible comics, Sovereign and Pretty Mouth, I'd written like a bunch of stories at that point, and they weren't good, but they were the same tier as those two. And I wrote all of Pretty Mouth and Sovereign out before we drew it all, but I rewrote it a lot. Yeah.
That's the thing.
It tightens up so much at the end because the writing style completely changes, and I just want it over with.
Yes.
Sovereign, that is. Pretty Mouth was just... Pretty Mouth suffers from not having middle.
Yeah.
Nothing built.
No.
Nothing was explained. We just went straight to the climax. I have a skeleton of an outline and then loosely drew the skin over issue by issue. Otherwise, I'll outline forever. Yeah, I'm not an outliner, guys. So like, I don't know how outliners work. I'm assuming y'all have it a lot easier when it comes to scripting in advance. Or not having to script in advance, I guess, because you know where it goes. I'm just hopeful. For me, I have Ursula drawing it, so like the early chapters of like 9 Point, and I'm not finished 9 Point, but I know where it goes. But the thing is, when I was working on 9 Point, we got to working on issue 2. And I was on, like, volume 3, and there was already things I wanted to kind of change about issue 1.
Yeah.
Issue 2 to, like, make things fit better, so there's that.
Totally. It's better, yeah, just because, like, writing it will go way faster than drawing it. It's better to just write out your first draft and then edit kind of as you start drawing.
Yeah. And if you feel like it's going to kill your motivation, don't do it. Like, at the end, you want to get a comic done, right?
That's true. It's like, okay if there's flaws. People will still love it, you know?
Yeah.
Because think about your favorite media. There's flaws in it. There's issues.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, like, at the end, like, it's better to get something done than it is to worry about doing it the right way.
Totally, yeah. Don't worry about perfection. Just fail faster, you know?
Yeah.
How do you make the resolution of a character plot clear?
I wasn't done answering the other question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was trying to say that, like, that the most important thing is to have a thing.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
sorry.
it's not even for editing. Or, like, failing faster. It's just, like, in order to have a thing, you need to be able to want to do the thing. And, like, sustaining motivation is, like, by far one of the most important things.
Oh,
That's all.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
didn't realize.
He was talking over me.
Oh,
I'm trying to extend the clip so that Charlie has more to add.
Oh, okay.
Because we only talk for 5 minutes each time. It's a problem. Okay, what was the question?
I don't know. How do you make the resolution of a character plot clear?
How do you make it clear? Hmm. Resolution of a character plot. Usually, I guess, like, the typical way is that the character usually has a want, and in order to get that want, they need to do something. They need to change as a character in some way. So that tends to be, like, a very explicit way of showing that a character's changed, is that they get what they want through showing their need, and then they have changed, right? Like there's so many, like, classics, like, I just don't know what he wants, but, like, the end of a character arc is Scrooge, right?
Mhm.
Like, he starts as Scrooge and he ends as a cool dude, right? Through learning.
Yeah.
Like, and he's all bah humbug throughout the entire thing until at the very end where he's like, oh god, I'm gonna die alone and people are gonna no one's gonna come to my funeral. And then it gets worse from there, and then he's like, crap, I don't want to live like that, so he changes really quick at the end. And he goes and he does all the things, and Christmas happens. He resolves all those plots that got opened up, with, like, because the final one's, like, with Bob Cratchit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the one that got opened first.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the very, very end is just like, and he was a better man than anyone ever. Kept Christmas in his heart, because it starts where it's just like, I forget what it is, but it's very clear at the end. It's a very clear example of that.
Yeah. He's a whole other person at the end.
Yeah, because that one very much starts straight off character plot.
Yeah.
I guess it starts with the Marleys. If I'm going by the Muppet one, that's the one in my head. But Marley was dead to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah, all that jazz. I don't think that's bearing your gaze. Well, sorry, I'm just not even paying attention to what y'all are talking about. But yeah. Sometimes it's less explicit, but you just gotta be able to see the change. I guess I understand why it's a little harder than other plots to resolve, but it's usually there's some sort of action that needs to be performed for them to change. Because, like, whenever you're adding conflict to a character plot, like, it's usually them behaving poorly and getting a bad result. So the very end would be them behaving well and getting a good result and then reflecting upon it, like, wow, I have changed. Like, that's how you end a character plot. And like character plots don't always have to be the big huge arc. Like no, I'm not gonna spoil anything here, but, like, I was playing Deltarune, and Chapter 1 Susie is completely different to Chapter 2 Susie. Like, there's a whole character arc that happens in just one chapter of that game, and she's a very different character once you start chapter 2 up. She a character arc has occurred. There is some sort of character progress. Is that the end of the character arc? Like, no, like there's probably gonna be more to it than that. But a big major thing did occur. Like there was an arc that occurred and the character changes. And there's very definite points of that story that are about that character changing, and if you play the game, I'm sure you can see all the points. It's actually there's a lot of points. Like anytime Susie makes kind of a major decision, you can kind of see how that is a character conflict moment. It's just I was just thinking about that. That's just the one media like I've played recently. Starts mean chalk eating and becomes a better chalk eater. Exactly. Because she very much changes. I haven't played chapter 2 yet, but I just started it and I was like, huh. She's very different. Anyways, there's other questions. Yeah, I feel like you can combine a bunch of like short clips into like a bigger clip list type thing, like combine them or do something with them.
I've got a character who gets killed. They make a deal with death to stay alive for a while in return for killing their murderer in revenge. And during this time, they fall in love. And since in the end they die when they get their revenge, would this be considered bury your gaze? The only gay, but also the only romance.
I don't know. I guess bury. I don't know. I think in the greater context of your work, it's probably fine.
Yeah, because bury your gaze is like they die as like a punishment for being gay.
Well, it's also like dying as a punishment for being gay is one thing, but it's also like a greater media issue because like they may not even be punished, you know?
Yeah, true.
Like they died because of the flaw of being gay. Like it moved forward from that where it's just like gay characters just die. Like they just But no, I think you have enough gays in your other work that it doesn't matter too much, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like you're not Hollywood. I don't want to fall into harmful tropes. You're always going to. You're never gonna avoid the harmful tropes. You just gotta acknowledge them. Like they're super duper harmful tropes, but like at that point, it's not even so much a trope as like stereotyping and just isms. you know, like it's not inherently bad to bury your gays, but it's a broader cultural thing. I guess it's bad to like punish a character for being gay, but I like it's bad to punish people for being gay. However, hot take, but like a lot of like actual stories of queer people are going to be about them being like it's just an inevitable part. I guess it's how you frame that.
True.
Because like there becomes like the problem isn't so much those stories, because those stories do exist and it'd be great for like queer and other LGBT people to tell those stories, but like the problem is that it's the only focus. You know, it's such a predominant part of it where it's like this focus on queer suffering as opposed to like other emotions and joy and but like the marginalization and the like suffering and all that stuff is part of a lot of people's queer experience because of the world you live in. And yeah,
Hmm.
because it just, I don't know, like this, it's there's so much more to it. Like just by using the trope doesn't make you bad necessarily.
Hmm.
It's like how you use it. Because like there's gonna be stories about like gay people who were killed, but the way in which you approach that is going to be very different, because there can be sort of like what did it, like martyrdom
Mm.
and like this weirdness to it where it's like so tragic and beautiful,
Yeah.
which gets gross. And it's not necessarily the trope that's doing it, it's how it's presented.
Hmm.
Because it, a lot of the time it doesn't even like, I'm just thinking about like movies, I guess like Boys Don't Cry and stuff, where it's just there's like this tragic beauty to it that I don't like.
Right.
But it also comes from like that being the only story that gets told, because that's what cis people are interested in,
Hmm.
right? Like they're interested in the tragedy. And I don't think you actually look at the, I don't know, it's just like a way that like transphobia is like approached. Like it's so, I don't know how to describe it. Because like I don't think like everything about it is bad, but I think there's like something, there's something like romanticized,
Mm.
and doesn't, like it's shown in, there's like, yeah, there's like a romanticism to like to it, and it doesn't feel, I'm trying to explain it. It almost feels like the way that it's presented, it feels like it's just the tragedy of how the world is, you know, and it doesn't, it feels bigger and do you know what I'm saying?
Um.
Help me out, I'm floundering. I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying. So like you have a story
Right.
where gay people are killed.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And it's kind of shown in like this like tragic light where it's just like, oh, it's so sad that it has to be this way almost.
Yeah. It's. Oh, what is that feeling
Yeah,
exactly?
yeah, it's hard to like explain, where I feel like you can have those stories without it, but it has to come from a view that isn't necessarily like the cis viewpoint of it. It's the exact
Yeah.
thing that has been prevalent ever since the swooning vampiric victim. I think John Green is a good example. Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying.
Forbidden and gothic relationships.
Yeah,
Mm.
I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, like there's so much of like forbidden love. It's Romeo and Juliet-y,
Mm.
and it sort of like neglects the transphobia in a weird way,
Yeah.
where it also just feels like they're having fun being transphobic too, because like transphobia occurs in the movie and they're like, oh, so sad, so tragic, and as opposed to like anger being a feeling. Like I feel like from like a trans perspective, telling like those kind of stories, it wouldn't be as beautiful tragedy.
Yeah.
Like I don't think, because like I feel like the I'm just saying like the cis het, like I don't think necessarily like someone who's like cis can't write this, but I just though it tends to be kind of like that specific like cis perspective on writing trans or gay people, because like I feel like when people write about like AIDS, like the AIDS epidemic, there's almost like the same sort of tragic beauty to it.
Right.
Like I think it also happens like with sex workers too, where it's just like such a beautiful tragedy. Like they think of like dying of AIDS as like almost poetic. You know?
Yeah.
Do you get me? Like Rent.
Yes.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
there's like that to it, when it's just like when you actually think about it, it's like as like a queer person, like I just get angry about that stuff. Like there's nothing beautifully tragic about it. It's rage inducing of like all the stuff
Totally.
that has happened that contributed to that.
It feels very forgiving of the system that brings it about. Like it feels very like,
Yeah, it
oh,
feels like
this is
look
just
at
the
these
natural way,
like, it's-
instead of like,
Oh, sorry.
oh, it feels like, oh, this is just the natural way of things. Or they can say like, oh, this was just the work of like an individual bad person who did this. And it's like, no, there's like systemic things that led to this. Like people made this happen. And
Yeah. Sorry, I forget. Like the individual bad actor kind of thing. Yeah, like I think
Yeah.
it neglects that like there's shades of transphobia.
Yes.
And I know like there was something I know about Boys Don't Cry. There was also like some racism aspects of it too, because because that's based on a true story, but there was actually there's also like a black person, I think, too, that just got erased from the movie.
Ah,
Yeah, like a friend of the trans person.
right.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah. I don't know about that. Like, in the same way, like, I imagine a lot of that same stuff happens with racial minorities too.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult because tragic beauty has basically always been directly tied to minorities and culture fears. We need to shake it off. 'Cause I love a good tragic beauty when it's not gross.
Oh, not a song. It's a movie called Boys Don't Cry.
I think he was also whitewashed in Boys Don't Cry. Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was like a lot going on with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, it's like the romanticization, the tragedy. Well, tragedy is allowed to be beautiful or whatever, but like there is beautiful tragedy in the world. Like I don't want to get rid of like the romantic tragedy. It just sucks that like that's the only perspective where that you look at these minority struggles. Like that's the way that we talk about it. Like you're not allowed to talk about any other emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not allowed to talk about transphobia in a way that's condemning almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am confused. Boys Don't Cry made me scared to be GNC as a kid. Oh, that sucks.
Aw.
For me, Boys Don't Cry was cool, I guess. Cool. Like, okay. Boys Don't Cry has a lot of problems, right?
Mhm.
But I also like Boys Don't Cry because one, it was a movie about a trans dude, which is super freaking rare. sucks that he dies and all that and
Mhm.
blah blah blah. Also, it got an NC-17 rating because it showed female pleasure.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like that was a big thing about that one too. That was interesting reading about R ratings. How it got an R rating because yeah, because of the sex scene, which is so weird. Yeah. So it did interesting things in that regard.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was so ridiculous how it got that rating. Ladies aren't allowed to enjoy themselves.
No.
That is not for theater. X rating instead of like R, which it probably should have gotten.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my god, it's so bad. Also because of probably transness, but it was, a lot of it came down to that. I vaguely recall. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on this. I remember watching a movie about how rating systems work. It was wild. Didn't rating systems come around because of Poltergeist
Did they?
or something? I was like a horror movie that kids kept going to.
Might have been.
Isn't there like a whole thing about Poltergeist? I don't know. Here's the horror one.
I know with Poltergeist,
Which one was it?
not The Exorcist.
No.
No.
Didn't someone die in Poltergeist?
I know that it was I think it was a production where bad things kept happening just by coincidence. They also used like real, bones and remains in the scene where she's like,
Real bones.
in the scene where she's in the pool. And they didn't tell her.
Keep talking, Ursula.
Yeah, ratings are silly. I know that there was lots of, was it the Hays Code that had like very strict rules on what movies could portray?
Yeah, but that was like the 30s.
Yeah. At one point, all movies had to basically be PG-13 because ratings didn't exist. Yeah. I think at least one of the child actors from Poltergeist died. Oh god, that's horrible.
Yeah, okay, I was right.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm trying to redo this picture because just the above angle just doesn't work. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think I can make it work from just flipping the angle around.
Why?
Something like this.
It's Aaron.
He's Aaron.
And like, a little beans. Talk, Ursula. Just for like
Sorry.
a little bit.
Oh my god.
Just a little bit of talking from you. I've been talking nonstop.
Okay. I like Lul being all spooky. He is spooky. Man. Okay, right, we were talking about writing LGBT stuff. Yeah, I think definitely with like a lot of the tropes, a lot of the problem, it sucks that so many LGBT people are really afraid of writing LGBT stuff. Where this is definitely a thing. A lot of like minority groups talk about this, where like when you write something that is very genuine to you and your experience, you get a lot more of like you get put under more of a microscope than I think like a big studio. Like, don't get me wrong, a big studio will get flack if they write LGBT characters poorly, and they should. But someone who's writing, like a queer person who's writing their own experience, gets a lot of flack if they do something that's maybe like considered a stereotype, because big media has taken those stories, which started from a genuine place, and then just made them like crappy tropes that aren't done very well. So it can really hurt people in those groups who want to make those stories. And I think, like Bones was saying, like if you're worried about falling into like a trope that a lot of people talk about disliking, you definitely you shouldn't be afraid to use a trope that is meaningful to you, like writing a story where
I gotta go.
the gay characters have a tragic death. Like, if that's what you want to make and you're an LGBT person, like, freaking go for it. You're gonna be telling it. What? Oh, right. One of our friends was talking about with publishing. It's really crappy. There was someone who had like a book that's centered around like a quinceañera. Sorry if I said that incorrectly. And they were shopping it around to publishers, and they got a reply from a publisher that was like, sorry, we already have a quinceañera book. And it's like, you can have more than one. So yeah, there's very there's problems with publishing where I'll bite them. Who are we biting? I'm not looking forward to people accusing me of harming the community by writing about my own experiences. Yeah, there's that problem. Yeah, no, people within minority groups get a lot more scrutiny than just like a white cis het person doing it. Just blundering in. I hate writing out a whole story and making a bunch of art for it and then getting bashed for writing about a minority I'm a part of. Yeah, right. It's not my fault I grew up on John Green books. There's gotta be a dead manic pixie girl. Oh my god. I promise she's cool and has her own motives. Yes. Hey, Orb. But yeah, you can definitely have... The thing is, you can also take... like, some of these problematic tropes are problematic when you don't, like, explore them fully. Because you could totally explore a story where the gays die tragically because they're gay, and you could make it good. You could make it a commentary about that trope. Like... the only way you can hurt me is say I write werewolves bad. You write werewolves so terrible. The worst. Yeah. Yeah. Basically just write what you want to write. And yeah. Tropes aren't inherently bad. Exactly. Tends to be when they become cliche. Yeah, it's like
even cliches aren't bad if you use them right.
Totally. It's usually like when people gripe about tropes, it's usually like a larger thing at play. Because every time I complain about like these LGBT bad tropes, it's because literally like all the cis hets are writing these things. And it's all the same, and we don't get any other kinds of stories. We're not getting stories from LGBT people.
And then when an LGBT person uses the tropes, then they're the ones that get chewed out.
Exactly. So it's more like a systematic problem than individual authors using these tropes.
Systemic.
Sorry, systemic, not systematic.
What? They're different words.
Hey, Ursula, do you want to see my thumbnails? Okay, send me your thumbnails. As a lesbian, the best LGBT rep is Bugsnax and only Bugsnax. Yes. Is it a lesbian story? I know nothing about Bugsnax.
They They never put good like candy on bugs. Like like you buy the crickets. Like I bought a spider popsicle thing, but the popsicle tastes like soap, and I couldn't even get to the spider. I don't even think you were supposed to eat it, but it was candy. It had nutrition facts.
Eat the spider.
Oh my god, Charlie, I hate you. They're overworking their thumbnails again.
Are they? I'm gonna kick your butt if you're overworking your thumbnails.
They're not as. They're just.
I'm gonna kick your butt. That is not a thumbnail. I'm kicking your butt.
Calling them out. The two characters that go missing in Bugsnax are lesbians, and these two guy characters, in a side quest, you find out the guy's in love with the other guy, Stan Bugsnax.
Okay, some of these are thumbnails. The one of the person just holding the thing is like a thumbnail, but some of these are just like way too complex. My friend.
That's why you get nothing done, Charlie.
Making work for yourself. One of them is a keyframe. Excuse me.
There's so much lesbian stuff for kids now. Sapphic as heck. Saff heck. Hey Fado, what's up, buddy? You're the only dog who didn't run around today.
You know.
You're bending before I even have my hands near you. There we go.
I have simpler thumbs. I just wanted to upset you. Well, you did it.
Good job.
I hope you're happy. Oh man.
Mega.
Is that like a good thumbnail I'm drawing? Not thumbnail, sketch. Is this an interesting illustration?
Are you giving up on the other version of it?
Yeah, kinda.
But it was so much better.
You like that one?
Yeah. This one's not gonna work as good in the style.
Yes, that's true. I just have so much trouble with.
I don't know why. It doesn't look bad. You're just overdoing it. Like, it looks fine. I don't even know what you're going on about.
Okay.
I don't
I'll
even
come
know
back.
what you're going on about. I think it looks fine.
I'll come back.
God. Just do it.
No.
Don't cower out of it.
Just let me.
These are background heavy illustrations.
They really are.
Because that's what it looks like. Ursa's smelly and thinks her art is bad. It's true. She's smelly.
Stinky lady.
She's the stinkiest lady I've ever met. Our town smells right now. They're laying down manure.
Ugh.
Classic.
How dare they?
Country things. Just country girl things. Smelling like poop. Ding ding darn. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. Oh my god, I've fallen asleep. Ursula yawned and now I'm falling asleep.
Oh, it's my fault, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have spring rolls after this for lunch. And you can't stop me.
Damn, my plan has been thwarted.
Nicki Minaj.
You can do it, Ursula. Thanks, Leech. Alright, you get one more rating question. Who wants to ask it?
Oh, damn.
Sorry, Bones. You're almost done.
You smell bad.
You're almost free to eat
You
your spring
smell
rolls.
bad.
You know what?
You smell bad.
I'm gonna kick your butt.
You smell like a Lush store. The worst smell.
The worst smell. I think there are worse smells.
Lush is, like, offensively bad. Lush is like being punched by Skittles.
How do I do romance?
Right with Smooch.
Right with Smooch? How do you keep up writing motivation? Please, it's gonna be slower. How do I do romance?
Give me the toy.
No.
Oh, shit. No, it's mine. No. They don't make it so hard.
Oh, damn. We got so many questions.
Oh my god.
Owens, you have to pick your favorite. Okay, so far we have how do romance, how to keep up writing motivation, tips on making your first draft get done faster, or showing how a character speaking a different language, but still allowing the readers to know what the character is saying. Which one?
I'm pretty sure people usually, for the other language, if you're just like writing it all in English, like I think the one people do is the triangle brackets.
Yeah, they'll do like a little triangle and then blah blah. Like this.
I think that's the typical way to do it.
Yeah, and then that's like they're speaking French and then
Yeah, that's like the traditional way. I know there was like something about not doing it in italics. That was like in writing. Anyways, that's barely a question. Okay.
writing motivation, writing your first draft faster, or how do romance.
To write your first draft faster, hit yourself in the head enough to not think anymore.
Bonk.
And write in pen,
There you go.
or use like a write or die method, which is an app, not a suggestion. Any tips? Writing a slow burn. Ugh, I don't want to write a slow burn. Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just
Problem solved.
make them kiss immediately. Romance done. Do you keep up motivation? I have no clue. Can you give me an answer, guys? Chat, how do you keep up motivation?
How do you do it first?
How do you guys keep up motivation to write?
In the Warrior Cats manga, they do a different font. That's a great idea. How to sci-fi.
No, I need the chat to tell us.
Okay.
How do you keep up motivation
you
while
guys
writing?
Keep up your motivation. Just do it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't laugh. I will. I'm gonna laugh at your silly cat BS.
I don't know, my head just vibrates.
It's a Star Trek fanfiction. I need help.
No motivation, just discipline. Damn, I don't know, I can only do motivation. I'm just too depressed. I have depression, guys. That's my excuse.
Get sleep.
I have unmanageable depression.
No.
It's a lie.
Dad.
Sometimes it is just putting my butt in the chair and trying to write,
How to
like
keep
every
up-
time.
How to keep up motivation make the best of the time. You laugh.
I take a shower and all my motivation comes to me because in my current situation I can't write or draw and it makes me want to do those things more. That's true.
That's a legit thing I've heard. Like, go clean your bathroom because you'll want to stop cleaning your bathroom and get back to writing.
No, sit in the bathtub with your phone with one of those little pop tabs so you don't drop your phone and write in notes. I get a lot of writing done in that.
What I always want to do, but I'm so shy about it because I don't like speaking. I always want to just like put on a voice memo and just talk out stuff, but I'm
Why?
afraid of Bones hearing me or being in public and other people hearing me.
It's true. I used to do that. That's when I couldn't type. I was too dyslexic. Get yourself a nice neurodivergent disorder and hyperfocus.
Yes.
Oh man, if I could control my hyperfocus, do you think I would be streaming right now?
No, he'd be playing Farming Simulator.
No, I can control my hyperfocus enough that I'm not playing Farm Simulator right now. But I would be writing. I'd get so much writing done during the day, and so little Farm Simulator. I cleaned my mice because I was worried my brother would come over, but he didn't come over.
I know, I panic cleaned.
Yeah, we made the house not even smell of mouse.
Right? Come on, guys.
I gave revolution to the mice, so there's gonna be a revolt.
Watch out. The mice are taking over.
The mice will win.
Want to get Ursula one of those chunky looking author voice recorders? Please. I won't use it, but please do. You're
I
talking
thought-
about Farmville?
No, I'm talking about a way more advanced game. It's wild, that game. Charlie was like, "Do you want to play with me?" So I bought it on a console that he doesn't have, and yeah, I'm completely avoiding him. I was thinking about how if Bones and I played Farming Sim together, we would be opposites of the map, doing different things. Very true.
My paw snips.
I'm a mess at Farm Simulator, but only because I can't. Okay, that's a lie. I drive like a maniac. Sometimes just for fun. I keep getting my truck like wedged between a bunch of things, and then have to do like a million little S turns to get out.
I love it.
And then like I have to detach the trailer and then kind of push it out of the out of the woods to get it hitched again.
Oh my
Bones
god.
isn't allowed near my field. Oh, my good kid. What? We could have a farm.
False.
We could have a farm together, and we do so much good farming together. Okay. I don't know why we are like so anti Bones McKay here in this chat when I'm the best farmer in town. I like tedious games. It's weird. I don't like farming in Stardew Valley. Well, okay. Well, I like farming. I just don't like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like farming. What do I do in that
You
game?
weirdo.
I do a lot of fishing.
Oh right, you like max the fishing skill.
It's usually the first thing I do.
That's so
I
weird.
hate like.
You'd always go to the mines when we play together.
Oh, I like mining. I don't like farming until I can have like amazing sprinklers. Like I like having animals, but I don't like having to like water. I don't like watering. I'm absolutely anti Bones McKay. You dropped a nuke on my farm. It was fun.
I don't think they agree.
Every 4-ish months, I'll get a random urges to play Spore extensively. I beat the game in like 2 days. I haven't played Spore since I was a child. Spore is so disappointing.
Oh,
What? It is.
I've never played actually.
It's disappointing.
Oh, okay.
And I like fishing in Stardew and cheating with mods. Oh, that's cool. I like fishing like a pro.
Pro fish.
I mean, what's wrong with just sitting around and fishing? That's all you do in Animal Crossing.
Okay, fair.
It's the entire game. There's nothing else to it. Apparently, I've played more Animal Crossing than I've played Breath of the Wild.
Really?
I've played 375 hours of Animal Crossing and 280 of Breath of the Wild. The fact that I've played 280 hours is also crazy to me. 375 hours of Animal Crossing is literally insane.
That is a lot.
Well, you know what part of it is I'll just leave Animal Crossing on and like
Oh.
catch a balloon if it comes by. I'll just sit on the beach for hours. So that's probably why it's so high, where it's not a lot of active play.
Right.
It's just on in the background for hours. Okay, that explains it a lot more. Whereas like Breath of the Wild, I'm like actively playing it when it's on.
Right.
So I think I've played more of that like actively. I feel like I'll like either have like 0 hours in a game or 90 plus hours.
Yes.
Like I'm very rarely a casual. Like I have to. Actually, I don't know how much is a lot of hours to put into a game. I can't imagine putting like only like 20 hours into a game. That's crazy to me. That's what crazy people do.
Stardew Valley sounds so stressful. No, it's so chill. It's so nice. See, I like just making
You-
crops. Like
Stardew Valley, like you can just like you
There's-
can mess around. Whereas like Farm Simulator, your stuff dies and you can go bankrupt and
Oh,
you have to take out loans and yeah, like it's stressful, but it's also chill because you just most of the time you're sitting around in your combine, just going.
hanging out in your tractor.
"Brrr."
Oh my god, I was losing my mind when he was driving around pigs in a little trailer and just like flying off mountains. Like, it's like, no, the pig.
I haven't touched Animal Crossing since like last Christmas.
Yeah.
Like it's still Christmas on my Animal Crossing island. We'll see what the new update has in store because like it looks like Brewster's come in.
Finally, that was my favorite part of New Leaf. Was just going to the cafe.
I have a lot of weeding to do probably.
Yes. 100%.
I love stressful.
I love stress.
You don't love it when I nuke your parsnip field, and that sounds like the most stressful thing ever.
Yeah, we're just adding stress on for
Yeah.
you.
For you.
Because you like it.
Handmade stress. I maked it for you. I make this. Alright, if you want to say hi to me on my birthday, become a patron, because it's a patron hangout on my birthday.
It would be the greatest gift of all.
No, the greatest gift of all is giving me things.
Oh. Alright.
Buying things for me
Yeah.
off my Amazon wish list.
Everybody make something for Bones for Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Make something.
Yeah, you can also make art. So I'm
Alright.
friends with you too? The stress. Alright, I'm leaving. Bye.
Alright. Goodbye, everyone.
Ow.
Oh, goodness. Thanks for coming. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new here. That would help out our channel quite a bit. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.